Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is the Political Brown Kid here, back with another Hollywood in black and white. But you know what? I should actually call this one Hollywood in yellow, in black and white. I don't know. I'm not trying to be funny or racist here, so if that's offending anyone, I do apologize. Because this one I'm focusing on, really, it's going to focus on two shows. I'm not really going to focus on one show in particular. I'm focusing on one movie, one show, and that's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm not going into the details of the show or the movie. That was a movie. And then the other one is actually this show on Netflix called Beef, which was actually pretty good too. That was spoiler alert, I just gave you that. The reason why I'm focusing on this is because these are two this is a movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. If everybody knows, this was a movie that won the Academy Award, and it had an all Asian cast. Now, I'm not even going to try I don't want to be disrespectful because I don't know which region of the world that these Asian actors came from. I know Michelle Yeoh. I know her work. She came to my eye, of course, in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's done a few other movies that I've seen her in. I can't remember. I know Z. Oh, I can't say this girl's name. But she was also in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She played the young girl. But I know that she was in a few of the other movies like House of the Flying Daggers. But I don't think Michelle Yeoh was in that one. But Michelle Yeoh was in other of those Asian martial arts movies that I used to watch, as well as she's been in a few other things that I followed. So I follow Michelle Yeoh. Also, the other actor in Everything Everywhere All at Once, I hadn't seen him in a long time. And when I saw his face, I was like, I know this guy. I know this guy. And I was like, I know him from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And I forgot his name in that movie, but he was the young kid in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And I do believe he was also in The Goonies. I do. I hope I have that right. If you ever seen The Goonies, it's an old show. You can check that out as well. But he was in both of those. Now I'll be honest. I don't know why I keep setting myself up because I'm not a Grammy, Oscar. I don't watch the Oscars. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch any of these award shows. Don't like them. I just never been into them, but I know a lot of people are. But I will admit this: anytime I hear that a show has won Best movie, for whatever reason, I set myself up and say I'm going to watch it. I don't go to the movie theater to watch it. I'll check it out in the comfort of my home for free, along with the subscription that I'm paying. And as I said, I set myself up because it seemed like every movie that wins the best movie Oscar is just a total. This is spoiler alert, just my personal opinion. Well, I'm not going to give any details about the movie, but to me, these movies are just not good. I've seen it with this other. Which one? It was the movie about the creature from the Black Lagoon, about the lady in love with the daggone creature that came out of the. This was just the creature from the Black Lagoon remade. That's all it was. I forget the name of that movie. Something like Light Water or something about some water. But it's I think they captured some creature that looked like the creature from the Black Lagoon, kept him in the water, and he lived there, and the girl fell in love with him. Spoiler alert. But we're not talking about that movie. But I watched that movie and I said, this was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And here we go. Fast forward a few years later, I'm hearing all the buzz about Everything Everywhere All at Once. It won all these awards. So I watched this movie, and I tell you, it was Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie was all over the place. And people talk about how brilliant it was. I beg to differ. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my brain is just slow. But I did not find that movie enjoyable at all. I was just glad, but I will say this: I was glad to see that the young guy from the Goonies, glad to see, and from Indiana Jones, I was glad to see him back acting because I hadn't seen him in at least 2 decades. But the thing that I want to focus on, and I know that's kind of a rant I took you on, but the thing that I really wanted to focus on was this in regards to that movie. I know I've been talking for 5 minutes, so I'll get into it. Is the fact that this was pretty much an all Asian movie. Outside of what's the girl that played in Halloween? Um, White female. I forget her name. Man, she was in Trading Places too. I forget her name. Slips my mind right now, but you know who I'm talking about. But she was in the movie. She, the acting was great. Everyone acted well in the movie. It's just that I just didn't like the movie. But she was in the movie. Outside of that white female, and outside of it was another younger white female that played another role. I'm not going to get into that. Um, not to get into their roles, but if you looked at this movie, here you have an Asian male dating an Asian female, or married to an Asian female. And they're the focus of the movie, Michelle Yeoh and the other guy from the Goonies. They're married, Asian male, Asian female. And then I think it was her father, the older Asian guy. He used to play in all of the movies. I think he played in a few movies I recognize him from as well. He was the older, grandfather or father figure. He lived with them and they took care of him. Older Asian guy. But you see this, they pair Asians up with Asians. So I'm bringing that up to say this. Jump to the Netflix show. Because I'm telling you guys, if you watch Netflix is probably the biggest bedwinching platform you'll ever find. Everything you see dealing with blacks, and I'll touch on it in a minute, they always have to lighten you up with a white person, particularly, and they always do it by pairing a black woman with a white man. But let's look at Beef. Beef is also an Asian show. So and I forget, one of them is the female, I think she's a comedian, Ali Wong. I hope I said that correct. If I have errors and omissions, please correct me in the comments. But you have Ali Wong, and she's with, I forget the other guy, because I know him too, but it slips my mind right now because I'm not looking at the television. But basically, this show is all about road rage and payback and vengeance, and they spend all 10 episodes doing so in a fantastic manner. The show is fantastic. I will say this, the show is fantastic. From episode 1, I was captivated. The show is just fantastic. But again, she's Asian. She's married to an Asian guy. He's Asian. He's not married, but, he lives with his brother. And, he's, him and his brother are together. And then they have their Asian parents, which they show, and their parents are together. But she's married and she's in her relationship. They don't do that with us, specifically on Netflix. I'm telling you, when you watch Netflix, what they'll give you on Netflix, and this is what they do to black people. The disrespect that they do to black people is that they always want to show you a period love piece between some black person back in the old English days of Camelot. And like now they got Charlotte, some show called Queen Charlotte or Charlotte, where there's some black girl and there's always some black guy giving the okay for her to be with the white man. They're riding in a carriage. That's all I saw was the promo. But she's just going off to be with the love of her life, which is a white male, during the period of racial hatred, during the period of racial, during slavery and during the period when white people were just racially denigrating blacks. They always have to make a love period about black people falling in love with white people and adopting European ways. There was another show. They had a show called Always a Witch, which was about a black female who was a witch. I think she was around the time of the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, but sometime during that slave period time, and she was in love with a slave master's son or a slave master, and she spends time jumping through time. I didn't see the show, but I got a synopsis of it she spends her time traveling, trying to get back to this white man that she loves. I don't make this up. Then there was a Portuguese movie on there, which I actually did watch, because this is when I first got Netflix, when Netflix first came out, when I actually used to watch Marco Polo, which I thought was an excellent show, but Netflix will cancel stuff in a heartbeat, because I thought Marco Polo was good, and they only gave you 2 seasons of that and then got rid of it. But there was another show, I think it was a Portuguese movie or a Spain, it was a Spanish, what's when I'm talking Spain movie, in regards to a black slave. And of course, they always have the black slave. She's always fine. They're not going to make him fall in love with a fat black girl. He's just going to do it. She's always going to be fine. She has a physique on her. She's always fit. She's always built to a T, like a brick house, skinny, with just no, fat in all of the right places. And with this movie, of course, she has to be mulatto. So she has to have finer hair. She can pass the comb test. She can pass the paper bag test. And they put this female, she's in love with the slave master's son once again. These are the movies that you get on Netflix. Then you have this trash with Eddie Murphy and I'm surprised that what's her name even did this, Lauren London. I think it's Lauren London. She's in the movie. And I guess it's called You People. I didn't even see it, but I already know where they're going. And once again, they paired the young, light-skinned black female up with a white guy, and it's always about intermingling with white people. Anytime they make movies with blacks, it's always intermingling with white people. And Netflix platform is big on that. So what I'm trying to say is, how come it is when they have other racial groups, they can, and then also too, if you look at it, before I even jump into that, when you look at the black female from what was that, like Mockingjay, the Hunger Games, the little black one, the black female that got killed, that Rue, she plays in all of the interracial movies on Netflix. And I don't know if they're Netflix movies or they migrate to Netflix, but that's all she plays, is a character in love with a white guy. Haven't seen her in a movie with a black guy yet. And once again, she's a lighter skinned black who can pass the comb test and the paper bag test. And she's always in those type of movies. And my question is, how come they always do that on Netflix and even in movies in general? But they never do it with Asians. They don't really do it with Hispanics. They always show you a Hispanic movie. You couldn't even get a Cinderella. They gave you the Princess and the Frog, and the princess was a frog who turned into a white boy or a Spanish boy. He wasn't a black kid. So that's Brandy's animated Disney movie. So in all of the other Cinderella and other movies or princess movies, they were able to be paired up with their own ethnic group, except ours. They always lighten us up and put us in interracial situations. Like our blackness just isn't enough, or they always have to make us the racial kumbaya to show that the races are getting along. And the best way to show that the races are getting along is to show that the races are banging each other. We're just having orgy parties with one another. They always do it. But what you don't see on Netflix, the thing that you don't see on Netflix is you don't see a young Jewish girl during the Holocaust falling in love with a Nazi soldier's son. You don't see it. You don't see a young Jewish girl in a Holocaust camp falling in love with a Nazi soldier that works at the camp, and he does everything in his power to free her. You don't see it. You don't see a young Jewish girl traveling through time to get back to the Nazi whatever, whether he was a Nazi scientist or Nazi doctor or Nazi whatever. You don't see this. They don't do it with them, but they'll do it with us. They'll take our past trauma and they romanticize it with some bull crap. But they know that if they do it with Jewish people, that there would be an uproar about it. I don't make this stuff up, people. So that's all I wanted to do. I know I've ran it longer than what I wanted to, but I just have to bring that point home. But it doesn't seem like y'all really care, because when I make these videos and I talk about interracial stuff, the content, the viewership is low, and everyone doesn't care because you all like to see ghetto gaggers. You all like to see this type of stuff. Y'all are fascinated by it. So long as black people and white people are having sex with one another, you don't care what kind of context it's in. But I guarantee you care if it was done in the context with Jewish people and Nazis, or if you did it with some white people and Al Qaeda. If you did it with some white people that were supposedly entering into the World War, the World Trade Towers, and some Al Qaeda soldier came along and they just had to passionately fall in love, that would be something horrible and disrespectful. But it's not horrible and disrespectful to have a black female who was raped by slave masters falling in love and romanticizing that relationship. But it's what you all want to see, and you all don't care. So maybe I shouldn't care either, but I do. But this is the Political Brown Kid. I hope you're having a good day. Take care and think about it.